Alright, very grateful and thanks for joining me here on another edition of a news update here on News Ghana Clock, which is coming to you from our news hub here inside the zoo, here in Accra. My name is Kweku Ediama Ansa. In a bit, we will be taking you through some of the recap of the news updates we have put together here. Let's take a look at stories that are making headlines. President Akufo-Addo welcomes strategic partnership between Ghana and South Africa. Also, former Vice President late Pakwesi Amisa-Arthur to be given state burial. Now in business, workers of the Konsombo Textiles Limited petitions government over poor conditions of service. Now in sports, France, Belgium, England and Croatia have all qualified to the semi-finals of the ongoing World Cup tournament, which is being held in Russia. We have these and many other stories, including international news, all coming up in the next few minutes. Please do stay. Thanks for joining me again. Let me remind you that the news is on our social media platform, that is on Facebook and on YouTube, all at News Ghana Clock. So get interactive. Now let's start off with our very first story here, where President Akufo-Addo says a strategic partnership between Ghana and South Africa is of utmost importance, as it would empower the business communities of the two countries as well as enhance the trade and investment relations between them. The president made this known when he spoke at the Ghana-South Africa Business Forum held in Pretoria as part of the state visit to South Africa.
Ramaphosa has said the need for close collaboration between our two countries who are working for common purposes on the African continent to ensure the development of our continent, to ensure that we are masters of our own destiny, that we're going to build an Africa free of foreign control, free of foreign domination, which can respond to the aspirations of our people. That is the big challenge that is confronting the leadership of our nations in this.
Now let's continue with the stories here, where an award ceremony in recognition of the 10 pioneers of the Ghana Foreign Service has been held at the Jubilee House here in Accra for their contribution to national development. Now the 10 who were the building blocks of the Ghana Foreign Service had 8 been honored posthumously, with the 2 remaining being celebrated alive. Now the president in his address reminded the current crop of foreign service personnel to emulate the pioneering roles of the awardees. Let's continue with our stories here, where President Akufo-Addo has stated that the late former Vice President Pakwesi Amisa-Arthur would be honored with a state burial. Now, additionally, the president has directed that all flags across the country fly at half-mast as the nation observes 5 days of mourning. Now, the president then described the late Vice President Pakwesi Amisa-Arthur as a very vibrant personality who had so much to give to the nation. Let's move on and do some NPP-related stories here, where the New Patriotic Party has held its National Delegates Conference to elect new national executives to man their affairs for the next 4 years. Now the elections, which is being held at the Koforidua Technical University in Koforidua in the Eastern Region, hosted over 6,000 delegates across the length and breadth of the country. Now the President Akufo-Addo, who graced the occasion. Alright, now let's continue with our stories here, where the Member of Parliament for Sin Central, Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong, has dragged investigative journalist Anas Arimeyaw Anas to the General Legal Council, accusing him of misconduct as a lawyer. Now, in a complaint letter to the council, Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong said that he has evidence that the lawyer Anas Arimeyaw Anas connived with a state attorney to have a case against some accused persons dismissed. Let's move on and do some educational story here, where St. Peter's Senior High School have emerged winners of the just ended National Science and Maths Quiz. Now the finals of the contest, which was held at the National Theatre here in Accra, saw Adisador College, West Africa Secondary School and St. Peter's Senior High School all battling for the ultimate. Now the winners, St. Peter's Senior High School, who won with 45 points, were presented with a trophy and a cash prize. Up next is business.
Hello and thanks for staying for some business updates with me, Hegel Fusua. We start off with our first story where President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo has ordered the Energy Minister, Boakye Agyarko, to dissolve the governing board of the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company Limited. This directive comes on the back of some misunderstandings between the chief executive of the Cylinder Manufacturing Company Limited, Francis Essiem, and the governing board. We do other stories where workers of the Akonsombo Textile Limited have petitioned the Trade and Industry Minister, Alan Tremantin, over the high mortality rate among staff of the Alien Textile Company. Now, the workers are lamenting over unpaid salaries for 3 months and the poor conditions of service in the textiles company. Now, they have made several calls on government to deal with the influx of pirated textile into the country. Let's now talk about the ongoing latest trade war between the US and China, as the US government has finally imposed tariffs worth $34 billion on Chinese goods. Now, China has retaliated by imposing a similar $34 billion tariff on US products. Now, this will lead to a rise in the cost of products for both businesses and consumers. Now, China is accusing the US of starting the largest trade war in economic history. But according to US President Donald Trump, the imposition is to protect the US company against any further downslope. Now, this is where we wrap up for business updates. Kweku Ansa is standing by with some more news. Please do stay.
Alright, thank you, Hagar. Now let me remind you that you're still watching News Update here on News Ghana Clock. Let's continue with our stories where we'll do some international stories. And a former Thailand Navy driver has died while taking part in efforts to rescue 12 boys and their football coach trapped in a flooded cave. Now, the Navy driver is reported to have lost consciousness on the way out of the Tham Luang cave complex where he had been delivering air tanks for the people. Now, the boys have been trapped for nearly 2 weeks in the chamber in a cave. Let's continue and do one final international story here, where left-wing candidate Andres Manuel Lopez has claimed victory in Mexico's presidential election, saying profound change is coming. Now, the ex-Mexico City mayor is projected to win with about 53%. Now, Mr. Lopez, whose key pledge has been to tackle the evil of corruption, has been critical of President Donald Trump, and ties with the US is now going to be strengthened.
Well, thanks, Kweku. Not so good news to start with in the entertainment segment, because legendary actor Mark Jordan Amati has died. He passed on at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital Thursday evening. The actor has been battling with diabetes since 2017. Mark Jordan is greatly known for popular Idikoko TV series. Now may his soul rest in perfect peace. Let's go to Tamale now, where the municipal chief executive of the Tamale Metropolis, Idrisu Musa Superior, has placed an indefinite ban on musical concerts within the area. This comes on the back of the death of some fans of musician Fancy Gadam, who crashed their vehicle with a moving truck on Friday, June 29, 2018. Now, the deceased were heading to the Tamale airport to welcome Fancy Gadam and Nigerian counterpart Pepe Rankin ahead of a concert. Several Ghanaian movies and actors have been nominated in this year's Africa Magic Viewers' Choice Awards. Now, Shirley Frimpong Manson's Potato has received 5 nominations, including overall Best Movie in West Africa. Now, other nominees are Jete Annan, Chris Atta, and Lydia Forson. Now, voting for the awards is underway until August 24, 2018. That's how we wrap up for the entertainment news segment. Over to you, Kweku.
Alright, thank you, Hagar. Now, away from entertainment stories, let's do some sports stories here, where we take a look at the highlights of the various quarterfinal games that were played in the ongoing World Cup tournament held in Russia. And so that's how we end up our news here on News Ghana Clock. But before we go, a recap of our top stories. President Akufo-Addo welcomes strategic partnership between Ghana and South Africa. Also, former Vice President late Kwesi Amissah Arthur to be given a state burial. Now in sports, France, Belgium, England and Croatia have all qualified to the semi-finals of the ongoing FIFA World Cup tournament being held in Russia. My name is Kweku Ediama Ansa. Let me remind you that news is on our social media platform, that is on Facebook and on YouTube, all at News Ghana Club, and was produced by AMULENS Production. Thanks for watching.